Vow to your creativity and tune into the Voice of Woe podcast.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the very first episode of the Voice of Woe podcast. I am your host, the Thrillmonger, Andd Bivians. And I want to thank you guys for taking this opportunity to either watch on YouTube if you're watching, or listen to the audio version everywhere podcasts are found. And I wanted to take this first episode to just introduce myself and explain what I want to do with this podcast and what I'm trying to accomplish. There's a lot of people that are out there that have such beautiful creative minds that they can create literally anything and everything, whether it be music, whether it be art, whether it be stuff with their voice, videos, clothing, any type of artistic view. And people sometimes get into a rut. Sometimes they get into a thought in their head of like, who am I to do this, or who am I to put my art and my creativity out to people. And sometimes it stops people, and it sucks that it stops them, because they're so freaking talented that like people out there need to hear their stuff, right? There's somebody somewhere out there who loves their creativity and loves what they need to do, but stuff stopped them, right? A lot of times it's us who stop ourselves. We say that we're not good enough to do something, or we say that nobody will ever listen to us, or we say we don't have the equipment to get stuff done. Like me right now, I'm turning this moment of being injured into a positive moment. It didn't always start out that way. You know, there was depression there was sadness, there was what if of the future, there was fear. But at the end of the day, it's you versus you, right? You have to come for yourself. You have to save yourself. And I'll be damned if I let this moment turn into one of those woe is me moments, right? And I wanted to do the very first episode this way. There's no mics, there's no like professional mic hookups, there's no nothing. It's just me and a camera, because that's all I have right now, because I can't get to the studio. But I want to show you guys that you don't need everything to start. Just start. I remember when I did my first podcast for the Disaster Party podcast, and I remember we waited so many years to just start our first one, and we started messing around with, you know, the podcast app, and we finally recorded our first podcast. And I'm like, yeah, we were happy, and I'm like, you know, I'm gonna save this, and then tomorrow I'll edit it, make sure, you know, I get it perfect, so that way when I put the first podcast out there, it's perfect, and people are gonna want to listen to it, and it's gonna be amazing. And then my dumbass hit publish and sent it to every single major podcast platform that was out there. So our first podcast went out there as raw as possible. Like, no edits, it's terrible. I sound like a completely different person right now. And after that next week, we did another episode, and another episode, and another episode. I remember we started with the iPhone headphone hookups that plug right into the phone, right? And we were using an iPad in one room for the app, and then I'd use my phone for another, so that way we could record. And we were recording over, you know, iPhone video and stuff. And then eventually we started to progress, and we started to get better working microphones, and better working software, and better working editing software. And then we got the Studio Woe. And now we got professional microphones, we got a professional soundboard, we got professional editing software. But we had to start somewhere. And if we waited until we got all of that stuff together, we would have never started. So this is what the Voice of Woe podcast is about. About finding your voice. Not saying you're not going to have bad days, or you're not going to be negative, and I'm not talking about rah-rah stuff. But I'm talking about being in that negativity, sitting in that negativity, and pulling yourself out, right? A lot of people like to use the term, they're entering their villain era, right? And yes, the villain era helps a lot in certain circumstances. And it's a short-term power-up, but can only get you to certain spots. I think now we need to pull back out that hero within ourselves, right? We need to become the hero of ourselves again, so that way we can have our own voice, find our own voice, make a vow to ourselves, so that way other people out there that want to do the same exact thing can see somebody like you doing what you want to do, and you saying, hell, it's okay for me to shine bright. And they're going to see that, and they're going to want to shine bright too, just because you made the conscious effort of doing it for yourself. Someone somewhere out there is looking for a specific voice that they want to hear, that they need to hear, right? Everybody can tell them the same thing over and over and over and over again, but it's a specific voice that they need to hear, a specific type of person that they need to hear. And you could be that voice. You could be that type of person. And I hope whoever's listening to this, I'm able to help you guys find your voice, so that way you can help millions of others. And so, enough rambling from me. Throughout this next couple episodes, we're going to be doing episodes off of a resource guide that I created. And if you go to studiowoe.com/creative-rebirth, you'll be able to get the free resource guide and follow along if you would like to for the next couple episodes. We're going to be covering myths. We're going to be covering tools and resources that you can use to help yourself every single day, to pull yourself out of different ruts, and to put yourself back into the positivity and the positive lane that you deserve to be in. So do me a favor. As of today, make a vow. Make a vow to your creativity. And follow, subscribe, and continue to listen to the Voice of Woe podcast. I appreciate everybody who has taken their time to listen to this and watch this. I love you. I'll see you in the next one. I am elite. You can't defeat. Don't even try to get at me. I'm in my peak.